All right. It's time for our business news segment. We're so happy to have Nate Bryan back with us. But today we're going to do something a little special. Since this is our last episode of 2025, we're looking back at the biggest business stories that shaped Hardin County this year. I'm going to be interviewing both Nate Bryan, our business update guru, and Phil Taul, who compiled the analytics on our most watched stories of 2025. This should be fun. Nate, Phil, are you ready?
Let's go.
All right. Okay, so Phil, you've been tracking our content analytics all year. What made you want to put together this year in review?
I just thought it'd be a fun thing to do to celebrate, because everybody's going to know what these stories are. And I think they're important to just remind people of, because people just, have short-term memories. And I think it's good to celebrate these things and to also just review them briefly.
So tell us, what's at the top of the list? What was the biggest business story of 2025?
Club One Fitness, for a variety of reasons. One, for a lot of us, it's almost like a family member. We all have some sort of memory of maybe learning to swim there the first time, or playing volleyball, or indoor basketball, or working out, or Zumba, or getting hit in the face with a racquetball. I mean, all sorts of things that and the city and Mulberry grew up around at Ring Road. It was one of the first major things to hit Ring Road, and it kind of closed at the end of the previous year with not a whole lot of what was going to happen. Not what was going to happen. So I was glad that they worked with us. They sought us out and helped us tell their story. And even the story that we told wasn't the one that we thought we were going to get. I think we were still surprised by what eventually still happened with it, and the partnerships that they made and the partnerships that they've still made. So it coming back, and it's also affected the YMCA now, because now you're not hearing much about the YMCA now that E-Town Swim's back, which I think makes sense, because there wasn't really a push to have a YMCA when E-Town Swim was open all the other years. So it's definitely a story that has dominated the clicks, the views, the talking points, the comments, and rightfully so.
Now, Phil, Nate kind of just picked on it. I mean, those are all great points as to why that story trended and resonated so much. Would you agree with what he said, or is there anything you would add?
I think for the most part, yeah, the nostalgia factor. I know growing up, my dad used to take me there when I was a kid. When he was working out, we'd play racquetball and do all sorts and play at the pool. So yeah, I think a lot of the things. I also think that the way that Club One released everything was a big deal too, because they kind of like organized it, and then from our perspective at Hardin Local, they reached out to us and let us, Nate actually, and then they had us release all the information first, which did make, it a bigger story on our end with the analytics side of it. So yeah, I think that I just think that people also value this type of content. And as we go through some of these other top stories, I think you'll see that people in Hardin County tend to value cultural type business news, anything that's like has to do with our culture or is their identity as Hardin Countyans. So, yeah.
Well, awesome. Okay. Up next, I've heard you two joke about grocery wars all year. What is that about? Tell me about this.
Well, I think the ongoing joke was like Nate started talking about it on stream, and then I put out a post where I just joked about Kroger and Publix being, trying to open first and who would finish construction first. And then it just took off. I mean, it was one of our first 6-figure viewed stories. It was over 100,000. And all these stories were that we're talking about today. And I think it really also just highlighted, also an increase in competition on the grocery space. And it's great for consumers too, I think. And people just seem to love any construction updates we can put out for big projects. That includes the mall as well.
So did either of you actually win the grocery wars banter?
We still don't know. I mean, I was at my brother's wedding this weekend, and somebody even asked that question, who opens first? And I don't live on that side of town. I've said it before, I live off 210. So when I go to work, I'm just hitting 65 at 91. So it's not a part of town, either side of the ring road, that I'm on every day. So I may go 4 or 5, 6 days in a row without seeing it. Then I drive by, I'm like, oh, they made a lot of progress. Like, oh, take that back. They're moving. But I think it's Kroger, but like, I don't know. We don't have views inside of what's going on, what's behind the closed doors, what's behind the closed walls. So I've never built something of this magnitude. I haven't been through a huge build like that. So we don't have any timetable. Obviously, when they announce it, we'll get it out there. We'll if it's a post, we'll repost it. If they let us know, we'll bring them on, let them talk about it. but I really don't know who opens first.
Yeah, I don't think we do. And it was more of us just joking about who will open first, and not as much about Nate and me arguing whether it's a competition or not. It was just a fun thing that ended up taking off, So that was an impressive story. I was impressed by the number of views we got on that one, because I do think when I added up all the different posts, it was over 250,000.
Team Publix here. Team Publix.
Me too.
Yes.
I love the pub sub. I grew up in a Kroger family. I still think Kroger has better daily deals compared to the app deals that you have to get on Publix. I do like Publix's layout. The pub subs at Publix are very, very good.
Hey, Nate, Danny just said Nate needs to smile or else his screen is froze. I saw you smile earlier. Go ahead, Britt.
Just the rest of it. Well, I'm just going to say, as far as Publix goes, it strictly comes down to one thing and one thing only, and that's the deli. That every time we've traveled, we go south. We have an Airbnb. We always seem to find a Publix, and it's always really easy to get a meal or to plan for the group out of that. So I mean, that's a convenience. I'm very looking forward to.
Me too. All right. Well, this next one is huge, right? BlueOval and the Glendale situation. Nate, why don't you walk us through what happened in 2025?
Obviously, it's one of our most followed and discussed stories of the year. Multiple announcement delays. Is Building 2 coming online? Then they go, everything's fine. They had a big celebration about the first battery that rolled off. So we thought everything was good. And then a story broke that, okay, hold on, maybe the honeymoon is over with. And I was down in Florida when all this happened. And then next thing you know, we hear that SK On has reached out, and they were the one to break it with Ford, to break the BlueOval deal. Video gets released of the internal video or PowerPoint, whatever it was, of yes, they're being dissolved. People will be terminated. So from what we've been told, Ford is taking the Glendale site. SK On is taking the Tennessee site. And Ford will be taking retooling. You have to basically clear everything out. People will be losing their jobs because obviously there's going to be new roles, new setup. They won't need, obviously they're not going to need 5,000 people. It's going to be retooled to make batteries for basically AI. And so it's not a AI building, it's batteries for AI. It's the difference between making a battery for a phone, but not making the whole Samsung, not making the whole iPhone. It's not the same thing. But obviously Ford does have a background in building batteries. So I think we've talked about before, people said it, pivot. I believe Britt said it. That was one of his phrases. It's a pivot. You have to pivot. Obviously, AI has developed. Scott uses it quite a bit. Phil uses it quite a bit. Some of my posts, I've used it too. AI just continues to develop and evolve. And if you're going to be part of the race, you got to find your niche and find your. I think this is Ford saying, "All right, what can we do now if the battery powered cars aren't working? What else can we do?" So I think it's a good pivot. Yes, it hurt. It hurt a lot. I know I've got friends that went there. I grew up in Glendale Junction, so I see what it did to the community. But I think on the flip side, it could end up being better in the long run. I think from Rachel, from the housing side, I think we're getting the correction that we've kind of needed. We know that we've been short on apartments way before got announced. So at least I think that filled something there. So it's not all doom and gloom. You can see there's sun rays coming through.
I would agree with you. And like I mentioned earlier, there's always opportunity, right? So you have to adjust what your expectations were and move forward what reality is. And I think there's hopefully still a future for that space. So Phil, I imagine this story drove a lot of engagement.
It did. It was mostly engagement. I mean, it still had a ton of views. It was one of our top six or seven stories, but the engagement was what was very high. It was like 3 times higher than everything else. And I just think that's because it affected so many different people's lives locally, and everybody had an opinion, and rightfully so. So, an economic impact stories that are this big, which is the biggest one Hardin County's ever had, probably, for the foreseeable future ever will have. And I mean that in the best possible way. But yeah, this one had uncertainty, which kept people following. And it just turned into a really big story. It's one of the only, I think it's our only story that didn't end with good news, even though, it could have been worse, because I do know that I'm pretty sure Ford discussed just mothballing the whole facility, and they decided not to do that. So, that's good.
we're very grateful that they did it. And hopefully, there's a brighter future, a brighter day ahead. So, all right. Well, that's some pretty impressive, incredible business updates we've had over the years. I'm excited to enter 2026 and see what news trends with you guys. And of course, we love to have discussion on our posts. So make sure to throw your opinions or comments. That's what this is all about, right? It's getting to share how you're affected by the news that's coming out, etc. So, all right. Well, I think we're jumping into our food and entertainment.
I think we have a couple others you might have missed on story 4.
Oh, sorry. I'm on story 4. Ignore me, people. Okay. So then we're jumping into the food and entertainment businesses that broke our stats. Okay. So let's talk about the fun stuff, food and entertainment. Obviously, we're shifting from kind of some heavy news here to a lighter. So, Phil, what businesses crushed it this year in terms of views and engagements?
I picked a few. There were more, but I picked the top 5. And those happen to be the Local Butcher, Lake Huron-Dixie, Cosmic Golf. Those are all open now. And then some that are coming, that have been confirmed are coming soon. We still don't know a whole lot about either one of these, Chicken Salad Chick and Nothing But Bundt Cakes. So those are the 5. And 2 of them, like I said, are not open yet. And we don't really know when they're opening yet. But those were the big ones.
We got some good food places coming and that have already opened. Nate, what do these businesses tell you about Hardin County?
Hardin County always, it's little Ariel's, the Little Mermaid syndrome. You always want more. Okay. We say that because we have Laker down in Stevensburg, and I love Laker down in Stevensburg, but now we've got Laker in Eadsdale, so good for us. I don't have to go all the way down to Stevensburg. We've got golf courses, but now we've got Cosmic Golf, and they've got great food. I've been there several times. It's one of the few places I can eat fries without using any ketchup or barbecue sauce. I love their fries. Jeremy Adams treats me great up there. I think the very first weekend they were open, I ran into the job out there, and he was at the bar. He was eating out there. I've had their burger. Their chicken sandwich is huge. It's not just golf, and I can't drive the ball off the tee. So if I go out there, I'm just throwing it and hoping I hit something because it's going to be awful. I've played the miniature golf course down there. They have ice cream, but they have all sorts of stuff. It's not, people need to go out there. I think some people still don't know what it is. The Local Butcher, I've become friends with them. I was just out there Saturday getting a burger for some to make me for lunch. They've been a huge hit downtown. That they actually have hot food too. They had potatoes one day. They had a meatball sub. So it's not just getting deli meats. I get all sorts of stuff there. I think they've been a massive hit. People no longer have to go to Boone's. Nothing But Cakes was, I think, the surprise because that was announced on our show. And if you go back and watch the look on our faces, we're like, oh, okay. And then it just kind of broke from there. I do know where they're going. I have talked to them. They will be announcing in 2026. But it's going to be a very good spot. It's going to be so Chicken Salad Chick. I do not know where they're coming. I'm not going to go too much into it. That we've detailed what happened there, but basically somebody called me out. I put it out there. 2 days later, I had it official. So I trust that they're coming. And I've been there. I went there once. If you've been to the island, they had one there at the island in Pigeon Forge several years ago. I ate it there. Very good. I do like chicken salad. Usually my go-to is at McAllister's, but if I do get Chicken Salad Chick, obviously I would go there. And there's more of this stuff's on the way. K-Pod opened, which was huge. The nightmare if they ever going to open. Yes, they did. I bet it's fun. Good food.
That was a big one too that I forgot to add. That was actually, that was my mistake. That was a toss for it.
We had the German American Cafe that's coming downtown. We've had Capri's that we've talked about, which is hoping to open this weekend. So I gotta get hold of them. And if they open, I'll make sure that Britt knows so we can go out there. Apparently their chicken parm is supposed to be pretty darn good. So that's my go-to. They promised me, since I've helped them out, free meals. So I'm not going to turn that down. I love free anything. So I love the fact that businesses have reached out to us and used us to help promote their brands. And Blue Bakery was another one that we were in to help out. So I love all the businesses that we're getting, even if it is, okay, we already had something like that. Yeah, but it's still a different take. If you ever get Raising Cane's, it's still a different type of chicken. If we ever get Whataburger or In-N-Out or Cookout, it's still a different thing. And I think there'll always be a place for it here because obviously you also too, we are a melting pot as far as ethnicities. To be Thai is very good as Prince pointed out. Greek people love, I was at Wasabi on Christmas. So we have lots of great Oriental and Asian and other influences. And plus, with the sports park, we want to have different things that those other families are going to want that they know and like and trust. So these other brand chains that come in will just help us out. Plus more jobs. So
Yeah. And I also think people just want places to gather. When I was looking through some of the analytics and running some numbers and reasons through my AI tool that I use for this, those were some trends. People want places to gather. They don't just want it to all be transactional. That's coming back from during COVID when people were just like Grubhubbing everything. And also experiences matter. I think eating out, trying new things, being social. So, I think that's something that we'll see a lot more of in 2026. I even was talking to Stacy, who owns Bourbon Barrel Tavern last week, and he was saying that he noticed that the foot traffic downtown has slowly started, it's coming back. Like, after COVID, it did take a hit for a while. And he's even noticed that it hadn't got back to what it was, but it's starting to get there, I think, in 2026.
Stacy's going to have some news for us. I don't know if he's going to allow me to take it or Job will be the one to break it. But Bourbon Barrel's got some exciting things on the horizon, too. But obviously, they've been friends with the show for years. And so that's another one that will allow people to gather and be entertained and come together with something different.
Yeah. So I just think that these trends will continue in 2026, and I think they'll get stronger. So
I'm in agreement. All right, guys. Well, one I want to touch base on.
I got to pop off real quick because all that food talk got me so hungry. I got to eat something before work. Y'all have fun. It's great in 2025. Can't wait for 2026, guys.
we'll see you in 2020.
I'll be good.
You tell John. Cheer, buddy.
Yep, later.
Well, one of my personal favorite events for the entire year here in our community was the Highland Country Fest. This was a big deal. We had some big stars right here in our backyard. Nate, what made this event stand out?
The fact that it was put on and sponsored by a local small business. It wasn't like when Nate Bryan came here the first time, because they basically said, okay, I need a spot. Somebody find me one. We'll do the rest. This was Jimmy Jenkins putting his heart and soul and effort and time and money because that wasn't cheap. And I saw Phil out there. I don't know if I ever met Phil face to face for the first time until it was out there. I saw John out there. I saw Grafton out there. I know Rachel, I saw you party, but we didn't see each other face to face. Saw so many local people. John Potts from Cosmic Golf, who knows what it's like to build a small business. So many people. Renee, who's also local. So many people trying to support this thing. And it was a fun weekend. The weather was perfect. I got great sunset pictures. So many big stars. I thought Tucker Wetmore was my favorite. Watching him play the piano was awesome. But Brantley Gilbert's show was incredible. I know the older generation liked the Marshall Tucker Band. Kelsey Ballerini coming back. I think that's one of her first shows. And she was fabulous watching her take the Grayson County Girl on stage and sing. Road Less Traveled was great. I mean, there were so many great memories. I've told Jimmy before, is like if the worst thing come out of it is more people didn't attend, that's an A+ in my book, because you're never going to get everybody to attend everything. Even Disney wants more people to show up. They're the biggest music party.
Even the first year, for a first year music festival, they did a really good job, and from a content perspective, it generated huge engagement for us, us streaming out there. John went out there and streamed live the day we had Jimmy on the show. And it was, it just had, people love to see Hardin County doing big things, especially our locals. And I think that's why it was such a big event and a big, one of our top stories last year.
Okay, so this last one, this surprised me a bit when you told me about it. Phil, Scooter's Coffee got how many views?
I was shocked. I was talking to Nate about it because I think we released something that same weekend. And I think it coattailed off of the Club One Fitness announcement because it happened that same weekend. And Nate had sent me some pictures of, where that Scooter's Coffee was going. The one out by John, that's going to be out there by John Hardin. I don't know if it's open or not, but we had over 150,000 views in 2 or 3 days on that post. So it was one of the most watched posts that we did all year. And just by post, I mean, it was just one piece of content. There wasn't any follow-up or anything like that.
So, Nate, why do you think coffee shops resonate so much?
2 reasons. One, we didn't really, up until the last few years, have a whole lot of them. Up until the Starbucks boom, we didn't really have anything. And then you had Starbucks show up, and we went from 0 to 2 Dunkin' Donuts. Vibe expands. Scooter shows up. Yoke Fellow, which is another one that reached out to us, has been a huge hit on the South Side. You've got Sweet Spot coming to Buford Lane. We've heard Seven Brew, which we put on here, is coming out to Mulberry. We know Starbucks is going to be building another one with Kroger. We know Publix, which we put it out there, the Publix one, people's like, oh my God, another coffee. It's quick, it's easy. It gets people up to the day. I still don't drink coffee. I don't get it, but it's obviously it's a huge market. And then plus now with the Starbucks issues and the continual people can know what's going on there with the working on the and then plus Starbucks announced that they're closing several. I think they closed 40 in New York alone, which just shows how many Starbucks there were in New York. But it's just for different reasons, coffee continues to come to the forefront of people's minds.
It does even at Starbucks I posted about them being on strike in E-Town, the two main corporate stores or whatever. We had 80,000 views on that in 5 hours. So, I mean, people love their coffee.
Look, I'm a coffee drinker. I'll try Starbucks, all the different ones. Give me some coffee with a little bit of cream. I'm searching for that coffee where I don't have to use cream. I haven't found it yet.
At Dutch Brothers, the Radcliffe's been a huge hit. So, and then the what is it? The one they opened on South Side, Yoke Fellows. That didn't quite make the list on the top stories by views, but it was still up there, you know. So when you combine all of those coffee stories, that's a big deal in Hardin County.
Mentioned, I think Vibe got an award for Kentucky Living. I think Apostale's been honored. Mountain Mike's and Glendale's been honored. This is a very good. We might not be Seattle, but you're not hurting for coffee in Hardin County.
So, guys, as we look at all these stories together, we got Club One, BlueOval, Grocery Wars, Food and Entertainment.
Sorry.
Let the dogs out.
Let them out.
Phil, what's the big takeaway from 2025?
I think many of our top stories are not finished stories. I think that's one of the biggest points. You know, there's 2026. A lot of these stories are gonna come to a head. They won't be done because they're always going to be a story when these companies open or when they finish their plans. Club One's still growing. The BlueOval Ford situation is still evolving. New restaurants and businesses are still coming. The mall conversation and that project is still ongoing. And I think that's a big deal. And, we're going to continue to follow up on these stories as we get the information and are provided with the permission required, by the business owner or whoever's in charge to release the information.
And Nate, what do you think this tells us about
more on the way, more pivots on the way, because we still haven't seen what all the malls got. We know Sierra's coming. We know Home Goods is coming. But we also know there's 2 restaurants that are coming. I don't know who they are. Maybe one of them is Chicken Salad Chick, because obviously they're going somewhere. We know Yummy Bowl is coming. Maybe that's where they go, because we know they're going somewhere. We still don't know anything about Lincoln Center, those 2 buildings. If you've been out there, like I said, I was just out there with Wasabi for Christmas. If you notice the one building, it's got a drive-through. So we know Baskin Robbins is coming over to the other side. So we don't know who's going in the Publix stuff. We don't know who's going to get all the outlets at Publix. We mentioned on one of ours that one of the outlets is accounted for. People think the coffee shop might be Dutch Brothers. I do not know. People have assumed it might be Raising Cane's. It's one that's taken up. We don't know. There's going to be a lot of excitement to be coming in 2026, because there's still a lot more names that we don't even know that are on the horizon. I know there's more stuff still coming downtown. Capri's isn't open yet. German American Cafe, who Janine's helped us out with, she's not open yet. I know that Todd Davis always has something in the works. The Writers Building still being worked on. Nicely still being worked on. Then the Narrow just announced downtown. So there's another place coming from the Greenwell Denison girls. So many things on the horizon. I don't think I'm going to hurt for content effort. There's so many things going on. Radcliffe's got some stuff in the works. Both the Wawa's still open, and people love their Wawa's. I love Wawa. We love some Wawa.
Oh, you can laugh, Scott. Just wait for one to open if you've not been. There's one opening next to my house, and there's another one like a couple miles down. And it's like my favorite place to go now. That's a gas station by far.
Getting trip. Our racetrack. I think E-Town's not just the gray hair, the things that adults talk about. E-Town's gas station game has ramped way up in the last 5 years between racetrack, Quick Trip, Huck's. Huck's is great on the Central Hardin side, and now Wawa.
It was so. I overheard a conversation between my son and his dad, and he goes, "Dad, mommy's town," because he lives in Louisville and I live in E-Town. She has a Wawa's now. Are you going to move back to E-Town? Like, that was the prerequisite for not moving back to E-Town. So my family's super. I've never been in a Wawa's, but I'm here for it opening day. I'll be there with my boys.
And as BJ Sanders said, the new music venue, which really is a business per se, because it is a city facility, how all those businesses, the hotels and restaurants, are going to eat that up. I mean, there's going to be other things. We've got the hotels the hotel, which we even talk about, is the hotel boom of Hyatt Studio coming to the South Side, Spring Hill, which I put out there a few weeks ago, the Downtown Courthouse Hotel, Residence Inn, which is starting to take shape, Hyatt 2 or Home 2 out by Courthouse, which I think opens in winter. So all the music venue will keep, once that's open and we start getting shows and major stars coming in, our businesses will feed off that just like they did for the sports park.
Great. Hey, do you have to go to work tonight, Nate?
Yes, I do. This is my peak. I'll leave in about 3 minutes.
Okay. Just wanted to give you a chance to sign off.
It's been fun. I appreciate you all bringing me on. It's wasn't something I planned on doing this year. I didn't even know Phil face to face until he reached out. Hadn't seen John in years. Hadn't met Scott personally. I knew Britton from football, but it had been several years. I knew of Rachel because obviously she had me on her show, and now she's on this show. So I appreciate that. Appreciate everything that she's done for us. She's a great host, and she brings a different dimension to this show. As opposed to just a bunch of dudes talking. So I've enjoyed all the friendships I made with all of you all. I appreciate you all putting up with my long-winded rants, and it's been a fun year.
We thank you, Nate. Thank you for your content.
Thank you, Nate. All right. Well, what a great year in review. Thank you both for putting this together. Audience, if there's a business story you think we missed or want us to follow up on in 2026, make sure to drop it in the comments. Okay. I see a comment here, Bill, our new music mix. That is a big
Yeah, and we're talking about the amphitheater, and Nate kind of mentioned it a minute ago. So yeah, that is exciting. That's something that we didn't even mention.